Venezuelan opposition candidate Sergio Garrido won the gubernatorial election in the state of Barinas against the regime's candidate Jorge Arreaza. It is quite important to remember that this political event represented basically the repetition of an election that opposition member Freddy Superlano won 2 months ago, but the regime-controlled electoral body decided to cancel, claiming different types of irregularities that were never proven. So many media outlets says that this is quite significant, that this is a pretty significant victory for the Venezuelan opposition, but is it? Is it really a significant victory? Here we're going to tell you the truth. We always tell you the truth here on Newsweek. And the truth is, on this particular case, that this is not a victory for the opposition. This is nothing significant for the Venezuelan opposition. As a matter of fact, it actually benefits the socialist regime of dictator Nicolas Maduro. Of course, you may be asking yourself, why does it benefit Chavismo? Why does it benefit the dictatorship? It is quite easy. Because with this victory from the opposition, the Chavismo can now control Barinas while it cleans its image on the international press and on the international community. Because we need to remember that over the last few years, every time that an opposition figure wins a gubernatorial election, the outcome is always the same. The dictatorship creates a parallel body that it eventually is the body that controls the state in question, taking powers away from the opposition member that won that gubernatorial election. As a matter of fact, in these latest gubernatorial elections, this is exactly what is taking place, for example, in the state of Zulia, in the oil-rich state of Zulia, where former presidential candidate Manuel Rosales won the gubernatorial election against the regime's governor Omar Prieto, and the regime basically did the same, creating a parallel body that basically is the one that really controls that state, taking powers away from the opposition member that won the election. So this is exactly what is taking place in Barinas. As a matter of fact, this actually, the regime wasn't forced to take this step, because in a pretty recent interview, just after winning the election, Sergio Garrido actually recognized dictator Nicolas Maduro as the legitimate president of Venezuela. We need to remember that many nations around the world, including the United States of America, recognize as the legitimate president of Venezuela Juan Guaidó, not Nicolas Maduro. And Sergio Garrido, in an interview, publicly said that he recognized Nicolas Maduro as the legitimate president of Venezuela. So this is nothing more than a huge victory for the Venezuelan regime. Because we need to remember that in every single dictatorship, every single electoral event that takes place in a tyranny or a dictatorship is nothing more than a way of cleaning the image of the dictator in question, of the tyrant in question. This has always happened throughout the history, not only in Latin America, but also in many other regions around the world. So this situation, the fact that Sergio Garrido won this presidential election, this clearly benefits Chavismo, because it will be, they will have the opportunity of controlling Barinas while at the same time providing a pretty good image for the international press and the international community, because the international press and the international community will see this situation as an evidence that democracy is not entirely gone in Venezuela, considering that the Chavismo recognized that it lost in Barinas, while all of this is a lie. It is an absolute lie, specifically because what I just told you, it doesn't matter for the Venezuelan regime to lose a gubernatorial election, because they will eventually create a parallel body that will really control the state in question. So it doesn't matter for them to lose these types of electoral events. But what they really want, considering the sanction imposed by the European Union and of course the United States, what they really want is to clear their image for the international press and the international community. And they are achieving exactly this goal with these types of situations, with the fact that Sergio Garrido won this gubernatorial election. And this will put the Venezuelan opposition in a pretty delicate situation, because it will put them in the path of going to next elections, to going to different types of elections. And this is exactly what the Venezuelan regime wants. Exactly what the Venezuelan regime wants is more elections. Why? Because we're talking about a dictatorship that controls absolutely everything, including the results of an election they feel interested in. Reporting from Medellin, Colombia, Luis Orozco, Newsweek.